It started with a simple wooden sign I hammered into the ground that morning. No trespassing, private property. Just a warning, nothing more. But in this neighborhood, that was enough to summon a storm. By noon, Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA, was marching across my lawn like she owned the soil beneath her shoes. "You can't put that here!" she barked, waving her phone. "This is community land!" I wiped the sweat from my neck and said calmly, "Karen, this is my lot. The deed's in my name." She laughed, that sharp fake laugh she used when she was losing control. "We'll see about that." An hour later, I heard sirens. 2 patrol cars pulled up, lights flashing. I stepped outside, confused but calm. Karen was already talking to the officers, pointing at me. "That's him! He's the intruder! He broke onto this property and threatened me." The younger officer frowned, looking at her, then at me. "Ma'am, are you saying he doesn't live here?" Karen crossed her arms. "He claims he does, but this land belongs to the HOA. We've had complaints about him before." I handed the officer a folder I'd brought out. Title deed, tax records, and utility bills. You'll see the name, Jacob Miles. That's me. The officer scanned the papers while Karen tried to peek over her shoulder. "Those can be forged," she snapped. Then came the twist. The officer's radio crackled. "Dispatch confirms property registered under Jacob Miles, purchased last March." The second officer turned to her slowly. "Ma'am, you realize you just called the police on the actual homeowner." Karen's face went red, but she wasn't done. "He can't own it. This was part of our HOA's expansion plan." The older officer sighed. "Expansion plan or not, he's the legal owner. You're trespassing right now." Her lips trembled. "This isn't over," she hissed. "You'll regret embarrassing me." I gave her a faint smile. "You already handled that part yourself." The officers left, warning her to stay off my property. She stormed away, muttering into her phone. I watched her go, feeling that uneasy silence after a storm. But something in her voice told me she wasn't done yet. 2 days later, I woke up to the sound of heavy machinery rumbling outside. When I looked out the window, my jaw clenched. Karen was back, standing proudly in the middle of my yard, clipboard in hand, and behind her was a tow truck and 2 guys in neon vests. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I called out, stepping onto the porch. She didn't even flinch. "Removing unauthorized property," she said, pointing at my fence and the no trespassing sign. "HOA rules clearly state no unsanctioned barriers." "That fence has been here since I bought this place," I said, walking closer, "and you have no authority to touch it." She smiled like a cat that had found a trapped bird. "Oh, I do. We reviewed the county map. This entire section is HOA common ground. You're squatting." I felt my blood rise, but I kept my voice steady. "Karen, you're making a mistake. You're trespassing again, and this time I've got cameras rolling." She laughed. "Good. Film me doing my job." Then she waved her arm, and one of the workers started backing the tow truck toward my fence. That's when my phone buzzed. A notification from the county app popped up. Land boundary update confirmed. I'd filed for a review weeks earlier after hearing Karen's rumors. The message was clear. Boundary verified. Private property registered exclusively to Jacob Miles. I looked up at her. "You just made your biggest mistake yet." Karen's grin faltered. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Means," I said, walking past her, "that every inch of ground you're standing on belongs to me, and you're about to pay for the damage you've caused." Before she could answer, a white pickup pulled up fast. Out stepped a man in a county uniform, the property assessor himself. "Ma'am," he said sternly, holding a clipboard, "you're the HOA president, right? We just got your claim. Funny thing, it's fraudulent. This land was never part of your HOA's map." Karen's mouth fell open. "That's not possible. Someone told me—" He cut her off. "You falsified an HOA expansion form. That's a felony." The workers froze. The assessor turned to me. "Mr. Miles, do you want to press charges?" Karen spun toward me, eyes wide, her arrogance gone. "Wait, no, please, we can fix this." I stared at her for a long second, then said quietly, "You said I was an intruder. Maybe now you'll learn who really doesn't belong here."
That evening, the whole neighborhood found out. Karen wasn't the type to admit defeat quietly. Instead, she doubled down, posting a long rant on the HOA Facebook page, calling me a dangerous squatter, and claiming the real documents were hidden by corrupt officials. Within an hour, my phone started lighting up. Neighbors, texting, calling, even showing up at my driveway asking what was going on. Most of them looked uncomfortable, like they didn't believe her, but didn't want to get involved either. I stayed calm. "You want the truth?" I said, holding up my phone. "Come tomorrow morning, I'll show everyone the proof." By sunrise, half the street had gathered on my lawn, coffee mugs in hand, curiosity burning through the gossip. Karen showed up last, marching down the road in her signature oversized sunglasses and fake confidence, clutching her binder like it was a weapon. "So," she said loudly, "you think you can fool everyone with fake papers? Go ahead, let's see it." I nodded toward the county truck that had just pulled in. The same assessor stepped out, holding a folder. He handed it to me, and I opened it, right in front of everyone. "This," I said clearly, "is the official county boundary confirmation, signed, sealed, and certified." I lifted the page so everyone could see the highlighted line, the property edge stopping just before Karen's street. Karen blinked fast, her lips trembling. That's not the most recent map," she stuttered. The assessor shook his head. "It's the only legal one. And the new version you submitted to the office last month, it was traced. Your signature didn't even match your own filing." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone whispered, "She forged documents?" Another muttered, "No way." Karen's face went pale. "This is a setup," she shouted. "He's working with them," pointing at me. That's when a quiet, shaky voice cut through the noise. It was Mrs. Daniels, one of the oldest residents. "Karen, I saw you take those papers from the office. You told me it was just a form correction." Karen froze. The crowd turned on her instantly. Phones came out, cameras rolled. The HOA president, who once bullied everyone into silence, now looked like a criminal caught mid-act. I just stood there, hands in my pockets. "You wanted everyone to see the truth," I said softly. "Now they have." The assessor handed her a notice. "You'll be hearing from the county's fraud division, ma'am." Karen's binder slipped from her hands and hit the dirt. She didn't pick it up. She just stood there as the same neighbors she'd ruled over walked away, shaking their heads, whispering her name like a warning.
By the next morning, it wasn't just neighborhood drama anymore. It was a full-blown criminal case. A county sheriff's cruiser pulled up at Karen's house around 9 a.m., lights flashing. I watched from my porch, coffee in hand, as two officers stepped out and knocked on her door. She opened it, still wearing her robe, her hair a mess, eyes wide like she hadn't slept all night. "Ma'am," one of the officers said calmly, "we have a warrant to search your property for falsified HOA documents." Her jaw dropped. "You can't be serious. I run this community." The officer's tone didn't change. "Not anymore, ma'am. You've been suspended pending investigation." Neighbors started peeking out from their windows, filming quietly. For someone who had spent years humiliating others with HOA fines and power plays, the sight of Karen being escorted out in handcuffs was poetry in justice. As they led her down the walkway, she caught sight of me standing at the edge of my property. Her eyes burned with fury. "You did this to me," she screamed. I stayed still. "No, Karen," I said evenly. "You did this to yourself." The officer beside her glanced my way. "Sir, we might need a statement later, but you're clear. County records checked out. Your land, your sign, all legal." I nodded. "Appreciated, Sheriff." When the patrol car pulled away, the street was quiet. Too quiet. People stepped out slowly, talking in low voices. Some came up to me to apologize. "We didn't know she'd gone that far," one man said. "She told everyone you were trying to take over the HOA." I smiled faintly. I wasn't trying to take anything. Just wanted peace. That afternoon, the new temporary board sent me a letter thanking me for helping uncover administrative fraud. They offered to pay damages for the fence, but I told them to put the money toward fixing the neighborhood park Karen had neglected for years. Later that night, my wife stood beside me on the porch, watching the sun go down over our quiet land. "You think she'll ever come back?" she asked softly. I took a slow sip of coffee. "If she does," I said, setting the mug down, "she'll see the same sign that started all this. And maybe, this time, she'll actually read it." The wind rustled through the trees, brushing against the no trespassing sign like a quiet reminder. Some lines just shouldn't be crossed.